Welcome back to the Healthy Living Hub, everyone. You know, sometimes it feels like every day there's a new superfood or a new health hack making the rounds. And lately, Andrew, one topic keeps popping up in my feed and conversations. Salt. Not just any salt, though. We're talking about the great debate between Celtic sea salt and Himalayan pink salt. It's like, which one should I be reaching for?
Sean, you've hit on such a crucial point. For so long we've been told to cut salt. Salt is bad. Watch your sodium intake. But the conversation has really evolved, hasn't it? Now it's less about avoiding salt entirely and more about choosing the right kind of salt. And yeah, the Celtic versus Himalayan debate is front and center.
Exactly. I remember my grandmother always had the iodized table salt, that classic blue container. And then pink Himalayan salt burst onto the scene. Suddenly it was in every health food store and fancy restaurant. Now, Dr. Barbara O'Neill is pretty vocal about Celtic sea salt. So for our listeners, let's unpack this. Andrew, what's got Dr. O'Neill so excited about Celtic salt?
Well, Dr. O'Neill is a huge advocate for unrefined, mineral-rich salts. She constantly emphasizes that the problem isn't salt itself, but the refined salt. The stuff that's being stripped of all its natural minerals, and often has anti-caking agents added. For her, Celtic sea salt stands out because it's harvested in a way that preserves its natural moisture, and crucially, its vast array of trace minerals. She talks about it having 82 different minerals, which is just incredible when you think about it.
82 minerals? That's a huge number! So what does she say these minerals actually do for us? Because for a long time, we only heard about sodium and iodine in salt.
Her main point, and it's backed by a lot of natural health principles, is that these trace minerals are absolutely vital for optimal body function. We're talking about electrolytes that support hydration, nerve function, muscle contractions, and even adrenal health. Dr. O'Neill often highlights how proper mineral balance from unrefined salt can help with things like muscle cramps, fatigue, and generally just feeling more energized. She even suggests putting a pinch under your tongue before drinking water to help with absorption and hydration at a cellular level.
That under-the-tongue trick is something I've heard a few times now, and it makes sense when you think about how quickly things absorb sublingually. But let's bring Himalayan salt into the picture. It's also unrefined, and widely promoted for its mineral content. How does Dr. O'Neill's love for Celtic salt compare to what we know about Himalayan pink salt?
That's where the nuance comes in. Himalayan pink salt is absolutely a fantastic unrefined salt. It's sourced from ancient seabeds in the Himalayan mountains, mainly the Kura salt mine in Pakistan. It also boasts a remarkable mineral profile, often cited as having 84 trace minerals, including iron, which gives it that distinctive pink hue. It's a very pure salt, having been protected from modern-day pollutants for millions of years.
So, on paper, they sound pretty similar. Both unrefined, both mineral-rich. What's the distinguishing factor for Dr. O'Neill, or just in general, that might lead someone to pick Celtic over Himalayan, or vice versa?
The main distinguishing factor, especially for someone like Dr. O'Neill, often comes down to the moisture content and the source. Celtic sea salt is harvested from living ocean water, typically from coastal regions like France, and it retains a significant amount of brine, which means it's visibly moist. Dr. O'Neill views this moisture as a sign of its living qualities, carrying the full energetic signature of the ocean. It's often gray or slightly purplish due to the clay in the salt flats where it's harvested, which also contributes to its mineral profile.
Ah, the moisture. I've noticed that. When you buy Celtic salt, it often feels a little damp, almost clumpy, compared to the dry granules of Himalayan salt. Is that moisture what makes it different in terms of mineral availability or something?
Exactly. Some proponents, including Dr. O'Neill, believe that this natural moisture allows the minerals to be in a more bioavailable form, making them easier for the body to absorb and utilize. It's seen as a more whole food version of salt, if you will, directly from its natural state in the sea. Himalayan salt, while also unrefined and mineral-rich, is dry because it's an ancient, landlocked salt that's mined from deep within the earth.
That's a really interesting distinction. Living ocean minerals versus ancient fossilized minerals. So, for practical use in the kitchen, would you notice a difference? Does one taste different from the other?
Oh, absolutely. The taste profiles are distinct, and that's often a personal preference. Celtic sea salt has a very briny, almost sweet, complex flavor. It's often described as being less harsh than table salt, allowing the true flavor of food to come through. Because of its moisture, it also dissolves a bit differently. Himalayan pink salt, on the other hand, often has a slightly more robust, earthy flavor. Many chefs love it for finishing dishes or for things like salt blocks for grilling, because of its density and ability to hold heat.
So it sounds like if you're looking for that living mineral, high moisture, direct from the sea profile, Celtic sea salt might be your go-to, especially if you're aligning with Dr. O'Neill's teachings. But Himalayan is still a super solid, mineral-rich option that's stood the test of time.
Precisely. The choice really boils down to personal preference, the specific mineral balance you're seeking, and whether the living aspect of Celtic salt resonates more with your health philosophy. Both are vastly superior to refined table salt, no question about that. They both offer a diverse spectrum of minerals that our modern diets often lack, thanks to depleted soils.
And that's a key point, isn't it? Our soil depletion means that even the best organic vegetables might not have the mineral content they once did. So supplementing with good quality salt becomes even more important. Speaking of supplements, Dr. O'Neill's advice about the pinch under the tongue. How often should someone do that? Is it an everyday thing?
From what I gather from her talks, she suggests it can be an everyday practice, especially for those experiencing signs of dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, or even adrenal fatigue. It's not about consuming large amounts of salt at once, but rather small, consistent doses to help maintain that optimal cellular hydration. Think of it as a natural electrolyte boost rather than a heavy sodium dose. A small crystal on the tongue before a glass of water, maybe a few times a day if you're quite active or feel dehydrated.
That's helpful. So it's not about sprinkling a spoonful of salt directly into your mouth, which some people might initially think. It's more about a tiny, conscious addition. And for cooking, Andrew, do you find you use them differently? I mean, for me, I just kind of grab whichever healthy salt container is closer.
Honestly, for everyday cooking, either is excellent. You can certainly just grab whichever you prefer. However, I do find that the moist texture of Celtic salt makes it less ideal for, say, a salt grinder. It can clog them up. So for a grinder, Himalayan or a dry sea salt is better. Celtic often comes in larger, irregular crystals, perfect for a pinch from a salt pig. For finishing dishes where you want a visual pop, Himalayan's pink color is beautiful. If you're baking or making sauces, the subtle mineral complexity of Celtic can really shine through.
That's a great practical tip about the grinders. I've definitely had that issue with some clumpy sea salts. And what about the environmental aspect? Are there concerns about harvesting either of these?
That's a very valid question. For Celtic sea salt, the traditional harvesting methods often used in places like Brittany, France, are very sustainable. They rely on tidal flows, clay-lined salt pans, and sun and wind evaporation, often hand-harvested by paludiers. This ancient method has a minimal environmental footprint. With Himalayan salt, it's mined, but from extremely vast reserves, and generally the mining practices are considered sustainable within that industry because of the sheer volume available. The biggest environmental concern with any salt can be transportation, so sourcing from reputable companies is key.
Good to know. It's always good to consider the full picture. So, to recap for our listeners who might be feeling a bit overwhelmed, both Celtic sea salt and Himalayan pink salt are fantastic alternatives to refined table salt. Both are mineral-rich.
Absolutely. If you're leaning into Dr. Barbara O'Neill's teachings, the living and moist quality of Celtic sea salt, with its direct connection to the ocean's minerals, is a big plus. She really emphasizes that aspect for hydration and overall cellular health. It's about getting those electrolytes in a natural, balanced way.
And Himalayan pink salt, while dry and landmined, is still incredibly pure and mineral-dense. It's a great choice for cooking, seasoning, and those aesthetic touches with its lovely pink hue. So, it almost sounds like you could incorporate both into your diet, depending on what you're trying to achieve or what your taste buds prefer.
You absolutely could. Variety is the spice of life, right? And it can be the variety of minerals, too. Don't feel like you have to pick just one forever. Experiment, see how you feel, and enjoy the journey of discovering what works best for your body. The most important thing is ditching the highly processed stuff and embracing these unrefined gifts from nature.
That's a perfect takeaway, Andrew. It really highlights that the villain isn't salt, it's junk salt. And by making these informed choices, we can actually support our health, not hinder it. Thanks for breaking down this fascinating topic for us today.
My pleasure, Sean. It's such an important conversation, and I hope our listeners feel more confident in their salt choices now. Remember, listen to your body, do your research, and choose wisely.
Absolutely. And with that, we'll wrap up this episode of the Healthy Living Hub. Join us next time for more insights into living your best, healthiest life. Until then, stay salty, but the right kind of salty.
Stay well, everyone.